Hello and welcome to part 2 of this Bush SRP record player that we're putting together. We got all the chassis done and biased, and now we're working on the cabinet that you can see here. Excuse the traffic going by. So we're going to have a look at what we've been doing with this and how we actually put these in. So first thing I want to clear up with these though is this isn't actually an RP20, although it's virtually the same but a different colour. There is some things that are different. This is actually an SP, an SRP 30, and S stands for stereo. And if we look on the board, the turntable, you can see there we did have a stereo output. I pulled that out. So that obviously had a stereo cartridge in there, and then there must have been another unit, which would be interesting to find if it looked a lot like these. I've seen the units on the later models, but not this particular model. This is the board that the amplifier goes on, and when it originally went in there, just back out a bit, it goes in that way. And the amplifier goes down the side. This ridge goes up here. We turn those round and mount the amplifier at the back. It's away from because we can't mount that now because of the speakers sticking out and stuff. They don't work, so we turn it round, move it to the back, push all the components will be up against the back of the case. And the valves just protrude out slightly here, and there's plenty of ventilation through there even when the lid's down. So we need to take off this to get that to work, and we need to make some alterations to these here. We need to cut those short on both sides so the chassis fits in there, and then that goes in. Now I have done the speakers, and if you remember on the last one we used these Resistor speakers, so I've made a baffle board for those. The speaker that came out was 3 ohms. These are 4 each, so I'm going to wire them in parallel to 2 ohms. They'll be a little under, but it's minimal. Here's the grill cloth, which you can see it's a bit grubby, but we're going to leave it like that because no point making it look, trying to restore it, making it look relatively clean, and the rest of it looks old, so it fits. I don't tend to bother with things like that. So that's in there, and then they go in to, let's just back out a bit more, sorry. And you can see there's a, not there to see there, there's sorry, you can now, there's a screw, a bolt there, which is, the head is set into the wood under the vinyl. So I'm trying to do that with one hand now, and it's not much fun. So there we go. So to do that, go away wasp, we're busy. And there's pink again. We're going to hot glue the grill cloth to that baffle board that we've done there, and then we've got some of these black screws we used on the last one. These with these heads. Well, I'll drop that one. Start again. Pink can play with that one. These ones here with the heads, round head screws in black. So we put those through here and the other side, and that mounts that, and they don't look too bad for screws on it, because obviously we don't want shiny screws on it because it looks out of place. So that's the first thing we're going to be doing. We need to drill a hole in the side, and it can't go in the back there. We could conveniently use those holes which actually we do have some of those on the side as well there, so we'll use one of those holes, perhaps put a jack socket through there. You can see them there, and there's pink, checking that I'm doing things right. So that will be a speaker socket, and it will cut out these speakers that we've got in here, and then you can have it on a cab if you wish, get more, it obviously don't get as much volume with these speakers, but if you put it on a 1x12 or something, you get max volume out of it. Speakers are in. Let's have a look what we've done. So I've wired these up, just looking there, got those wired in, got that fastened in there, and we've got the socket. If we just hone in, can I hone in with this camera onto that? Where are we? There we are. Right, where that took some getting into. There, yeah, and I've used, yeah, now I've used same colour cable, but I do know which is positive and negative. I'll put that to size when we've got the thing in. What's the next job? Next job is to take off the lid and mark out and drill all the holes for the controls. So we said this had got to go this way, and that now fits in there. We've took that piece off there, and we've cut that stanchion there. So, and the lid goes down on there, and that'll be jolly good, and the controls will be on here. So now you can see those holes there, and there. It's where the Bush badge was, and I've prized those off gently. And we're going to put those on the front, which will be quite a job, lining those up. So I'm probably going to sit them on this metal surround there. Then we know we'll at least get them level. So I'm going to take the lid off now and make a start of that, of the controls. It's in. So this is how we mount the chassis. You can see there now it's mounted through to the back. One thing I have realised though is you can see those holes at the bottom. I'm going to have to block those off because fingers can be poked through there, or at least screwdrivers or anything really that will fit through. And if it's metal, it's going straight onto the board and all the terminals that are live. So that's another job we've got to do. So we need to patch that up. So that's how that fits in there, and it's looking most delightful. You can see now I've made way to get those cut those holes to get through there. Hole there for the fuse, it's 5mm out, but that's another story. That's is your voltage selector, which incidentally, if you did want to change that, you would have to take the chassis off the board to do it. That does not access, you can't just pull that out, probably for safety reasons really. It would be so easy for somebody to swap that being inside the record player, because of course the turntable was here, that would be at the side, although it would be turned the other way around. So that's the original way it went in, that way, and this is the way we've now got it. So the next job is to get the lid on and then start bringing all the wires up. We have got all the controls wired up, so let's just have a look at what we've done. So if we go up here to the main switch, you can see that we've wired in the main switch. And what I've done to insulate this is I found some, I had a real large piece of shrink tubing that was just like flat, that had been cut open. So I've wrapped it round there, tie wrapped it, and then heated it, shrunk it, and keep nipping the tie wraps up just to get that. That's just bang on now, safe, solid. So that's that done. Volume pots it now. I've decided for the time being I'm not going to put a tone stack in there. I'm just going to have a volume and see how I go with it. If I find it's not doable, then I'm going to put a tone stack in, but failing that I'm just going to leave it with that volume. So now we've got the wires trailing up there and these wires trailing here. So we bought these, and these are cable tidies, so we're going to use these and tidy up all those cables. Now notice I've left a bit of slack on there, and there is a bit of slack, although I've fastened those there down so they're not pulling on the terminals. but I've left some slack inside, and the reason for that is that if I got to repair it, I need enough cable to lift it out. So if I end up with it tight, I'm going to be struggling to turn it around. So we've left a bit of cable on if we ever have to service it or do anything. Speaking of servicing, Pink's come to check what we're up to. The plug's out, don't worry, it's switched off. So yeah, she's checking it all out to see if it's appropriate. So I've just got to clean this. Just got to clean this off as well because it's dusty, and then we're going to stick those. These just stick on these cable tidies. So we're just going to use those and tidy it all up now. So I'll just lift this out slightly, and we have a pier down there. So remember those holes that we had. So we've put that in there, and that's been siliconed in. It's solid, so can't be pushed out, and that's made that safe as well. We couldn't leave that like that. It was just too dangerous. So that's it. So sorry about that, I should drop the camera. So I'm going to sort these cable tidies out, and then we'll pop back and have a look. We have got I'm not going to switch it on now because Pink's on the bench. She keeps shoving her nose in there, so she's got her nose burnt on one of the valves. That's all that clipped up and done, all those cables. Just have a bit of a hone in and see what I've done that there. So you can see if we just hone down, got those in there. Actually, it's amazing how you don't see things and do things really stupid. So when I took that stereo socket out there, left a hoil, and instead of threading all the cables through that and making good use of it, I didn't, and I've had to make just a little, take a little piece out of there to put that in. So I didn't spot that till after I put them in, and I thought, oh yeah, that sounds about right for me. So we'll have a look at this side. Not quite as tidy because I can only get one set of cables in here, so I've just put, and nobody's going to see inside, and as long as they're all tidy and sorted out, that's the main thing. So Pink's on the other bench now. We can now close this lid down, and there it's almost, let me get that cable in its slot there, that's right. So we can close that down, clip that there. We can switch it on because she can't get inside it. And you can see the pilot lights on there. And we have sound. There we are. So there's just a few other bits and bobs. We've got the chicken knob to go on there, and that is kicking around somewhere. A bit of Pink sat on it because she's on this bench. Just give me a moment, and there we go. It wouldn't be complete without a chocolate brown chicken knob, would it? There we go. That's the knob. So we'll just have a breeze across there. You can see the pilot light there, and that's looking most splendiferous. Right, all finished. You see we've got the Bush badge on there, which we stuck on in, which hasn't come out too bad considering. I've lined it up on that on this brass looking trim there. You can see that's on. Just have a single volume there, and the pilot light, if we switch that on, you see that come on there. So we'll just have a final look inside at what we did, and just about get the lid up for that for the light, which is now blurring out, but you can, let me just move this forward. There we go. So we get up, block some of the light out, but so you can see really what we've got inside. You can see the cables running up there. If we just run that up, and the other side you can see the cables running up there. It might just, the light's a bit close. quite low ceiling in here. So that is that all done. Now we have made some changes. Sorry, just move that back. Now we have made some changes to this, and we're going to have a look at the schematic and see what we've done. So I did run this up to start off with, and it sounded pretty dreadful. I had to put a grid leak resistor on the output tube, and we've put a 220k on there. There's a reason for that, so we're going to have a look at the schematic. Why did we use a 220k grid leak, which you can see there? Because if we look up there, that's what's on the 5F1. So obviously a modification because if you look at that one, there isn't one. That's a feed resistor, at 250k. No grid leak resistor on there. So it's almost like they're using, and I put that in there earlier, as if they're using the volume pot. I don't know how they got that to work, because I just couldn't get it to stabilise. It just wouldn't work without a grid leak resistor. I'd stuck that 1 meg on while I was testing it. It sounded dreadful with that on it, just too hard sounding, although there was a lot of gain on it. So put the 220 on, not as much gain, but sounds loads better. Now the other thing we changed on here was, not on that one because that's a 5F1, excuse me a minute. So 75k grid stoppers. So I changed that grid stopper to a 27k because it wasn't particularly bright, and I didn't really want to put a tone stack on it unless I were forced. That's brightened it up no end. Obviously the 220 has as well, so that's made it a lot better. What else did we do? Yeah, we put a bright cap on the volume pot, because when you turn the volume down, it would get in a bit dark sounding. So we've done that as well. Anything else we changed? I think that's it. So that is the 5C1 project. So all that remains now is to have a damn good listen to it. So we're back with this Bush SRP 30 5C1 champ conversion. We're going to have a bit of a listen now. So I'll just show you what I'm doing here. So I've got it mic'd up, and I have also got a reverb pedal on it, and that's all. So we've got it 3/4 of the way up, and I've got a Paul Reed Smith Custom 24. You've probably seen me playing that before on odd videos. And we've got it on single coil mode on the bridge position. Let's give it a blast. I'm also using a plectrum there, as you know. Sometimes I don't, so I'm now going to play it without using a pick, so it's got a bit more Delic shrug. So I'm going to put it up onto the bridge position. So there we go there. Now I'm going to put it onto the humbucker. Now these pickups are a bit snarly, and they do make this amp, and you can see there that has now got quite a bit more kick. I'm probably just going to drop down on the slider a bit on the microphone. So now on the neck pickup in humbucker, you can see already that's beginning to break up. Back on the bridge position again. So you do lose your clean sound when with humbuckers when you kind of get much past half volume. But if that's the sound you like, then it would be nice if it had a tone control on it when you're using the humbuckers, because it just try and get a bit of a sweeter, toppier. It's a very full and warm tone, but of course that don't go so well when you start to drive it hard. Not to my ears anyway. So let's get a Telecaster through it and have a listen to the old telly. So I've got the Telecaster plugged in now. This telly's got Seymour Duncans in. So I've got the setting on both pickups. So we'll have a listen. I've got the volume up flat now, by the way. You do need to have it full up there for the single coils, unless they're mega powerful. So I'll put it on the neck pickup. Now, neck pickup on this is a bit woolly, but I don't know whether or not it's wired that way. Some Telecasters are. I had a chance to have a look in there. I don't particularly like that, but bridge pickup. Can hear one or two dud frets on this. It needs refretting. It's a bit of a work in progress. put it back on both pickups and I'll use a plectrum now. Used to playing this one. So that's the Telecaster through it. So we're going to have a listen to it on a extension speaker. Now this amplifier is one of my gigging amps. It's a WEM Dominator 15 watts, but we're just going to use the speaker for the time. We're not actually going to, the amp switched off, just using it as an extension speaker, and we've got the 5C1 plugged into it. I'm going to do a video on one of these WEM Dominators, which I'm planning to turn into partially a Fender Princeton, but without the reverb and trem. But more on that later. So that's what we're playing through. It's a 1x12 Celestion that we've got in there, and we've got the 5C1 Bush plugged into it. So we're going to have a listen. So we've got it on this extension cab, so let's give it a reblast. So we've got more volume. I've turned that down to halfway now, and we've already got more volume because obviously it's a bigger speaker and it's more responsive. Remember that the idea of these projects, these record player conversions, were to get them so you could get them cranked up, you know, nearly flat out or flat out, but still use them, you know, without annoying your neighbours. When you've got it on the 1x12, well, that's a different thing. Then it is, you know, as loud as most 5-watt amps are. So I've got the Telecaster blasting through it. So it's a very middly sound now, and doesn't seem to have as much bass, and which is strange really when you think it's been on that little cabinet, which tells you, you know, how much those why I stand them on the ends, and why the top and the bottoms, you know, seem to resonate. They seem to enhance the bass somewhat. Got a nice bit, not a big tone to it though, nice fat tone. So amazing how good these amplifiers sound, or the early Fender ones, and none of the engineers play guitar. It's just staggering. They really were talented people to get such a good sound with so little components as well. You know, you open modern amps up today and they're just full of components, and then you get something like this and you know it's probably got 25 components in it, something like that, and you've got a beautiful tone. So I've got the Poor E Smith plugged into it now. I've got that on single coil setting on the bridge pickup, and that's a honky tone. And again, not a lot of bass on there. Let's go on to the neck pickup. Notice I've dropped the volume down to just below half now. Flick it onto single coil on the humbuckers on the bridge. My word, that's a lot louder. Just drop the volume there. Sorry, just honed in on that. Take a bit off the microphone there, just to so we're not overloading it. And on the bridge pickup, neck pickup, sorry. So that's a fair demo of the extension cab. The main idea is to use it on its own speakers, but it has got that option. So thanks for watching, and listen to me rabble on again as usual, watching me codge these amplifiers up that I make. If you wish to subscribe to the channel, then I'll be grateful if you did that. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and you all take care, and I'll see you in another video. So bye bye for now.